Yep, I'll go for it. So hopefully you should be seeing my screen. So KIOSC this term is now online. Yes, very exciting, like everybody else at the moment. So we've got a couple of programs that we're running online. So I just want to kind of reaffirm our and your obligations for the term. So we're still continuing as normal as per the DEET guidelines. So DEET has given us instructions that we're to deliver an online program to help augment the learning back in schools and to continue with the current links that we have with you guys. So Kalari and the principal teams have had many meetings to make sure that all of the obligations are still met on your behalf and from us as well. So you can see there on the list that we're running quite a few programs for the term. This term was a really good term anyway because we had lots of double ups. So we had like Wantirna booked in for a week for genetics and microarrays, and we had other schools in those blockings as well. So it was actually going to be a good term. We didn't have quite a lot on board. Now we've just got to flip it a little bit. So what you see there, the picture is what you'll be shown shortly. We've got a new LMS system that the students will be able to log into once Peter gives me their names and emails. So the principals, as I said, have had a big discussion with Kalari, and that's why I called it principal programs with an AL. Currently delivering to schools, including lots of design thinking programs with a couple of our new industry partners. So the new one that's being launched, I think next week, I don't think Wantirna is involved, but it's the Young Change Agents. It's a coronavirus youth design summit where students are basically trying to solve not the coronavirus issue, but things like socialization issues and other peripheral components of isolation. The other one that I've just come out of a meeting with is Amazon Web Services. These guys are really cool, and we're going to be putting together a chat bot, which will be a so the kids will basically design a canteen bot that will order your drink. So you can go on to online and you can order your drink, and you'll be able to go to the canteen and just pick it up, basically. So there's lots of chatbots out there. So that's one of the programs that we're doing. They're both competition based, so there are prizes for them. So that brings us to what we guys are delivering for you. And for the genetics and microarray program, it's exactly the same as what we can deliver at KIOSC in the 2-hour module. It's just been put online. So we're still doing the epigenetic component, and we're still doing the microarray analysis. And I'll let Kat talk about that as she runs you through the program. And it also still meets all of the strands that we are doing. So of course it's got the biological science strand. It's got science as human endeavour because we're looking at new scientific discovery and technology. Obviously science, inquiry and skill because they're basically doing a prac, and it's got that ethical component from the capabilities as well. So I'm going to head over to Kat now. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Kat's going to take you into the world of the Canvas KIOSC learning system. Unmute, hun.
Technology, it's great. All right, let me just share my screen. So jumping into here. Alrighty, so when the kids come in, can you all see this? No, because I've got to click one more button. There we go. Now I can see you all. All right, so when the kids come in, they're going to have like a little bit of a pre-work to do. So has anyone not done the epigenetics or genetics and microarray program before? So there's a few. Okay, cool. So it is pretty similar to what we used to do, but the difference is we don't have the ability to teach like we used to. So we've got a bit of a pre-work introduction for the kids where they go in and watch this video here, which I'm not going to show right now. It's the video that we used to have in the actual program. It just reattaches, like reaffirming like what is DNA, what is chromosome, what are the bases, all that type of stuff. So it's just going over what you guys have already taught them because you're amazing teachers. And then from there, they go in and do their, so all they have to do is click next. It's pretty straightforward. And then they go, it will go into the quiz, and this is what it will look like. And they just simply answer these questions. And the nice thing is we've tried to make it as easy as possible for you guys, because it marks most of it for you, unless it's a essay or a short answer question. So this is
formative assessment at the moment, just so the kids can track where they're going through, because it's quite scaffolded in they need to know what DNA is, obviously, in order to do kind of the next component. So these quizzes and all the data, all the back end data, we can actually export out to you, to your class, because we'll put them in, you know, as in like, you know, Pete's class, Fung's class, for example, and we'll be able to export that data out to you if you're interested in knowing what the kids did and what their answers are.
So yeah, so then from there, once they've done their pre-quiz, we're then going to move into our session 1. Now, in regards to session 1, we are going to do an online where we can actually talk to the kids. So we haven't decided on what platform we're using yet, unless Leanne has got the answer to that.
It's something that we have to negotiate individually with each school. Some schools are happy to do like a live Facebook. Some schools want to do like a webinar with you. So that we can manage. It's just up to the individual school. Pete, did you have anything on that? No? Okay, keep going.
I just lost your audio there.
Okay. I was just saying, Peter, the live feed will be up to a negotiation between the live feed will be a negotiation between you and me as to what platform we use. All right, I think he's lost for the moment. Keep going.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm back.
You're back?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, from my understanding is that Wantirna is using either Teams or using WebEx, according to the department's regulations.
Yeah, that's fine. We just wanted to check in with what you had. We just want to make sure it's a secure link and that we don't get any untowards. But the live feed most likely will be, and we're hoping to give you a couple of options. For example, I spoke to my son, who's in year 10, and he said that they don't do any work on Tuesday at 11 a.m. because that's Catalyst.
Yeah.
Is that true? Okay, he's telling you the truth?
Yeah, I think most of them don't do any work between about Monday 9 o'clock and Friday about 2:30. But
So we could run a 20-minute introduction with the kids slotted in that time, and it could be all the year 10s. And when we get to run the lab, which Kat will take you through in a few minutes, we could do that like on a Wednesday afternoon during, what's it called, boot camp still?
Yeah.
During that boot camp time where she can have a direct link with the kids and run through the experiment. So we'll work out the logistics of it, but we definitely want to have a live feed with the kids to touch base, because this is so much easier than just pushing out information, and sometimes you get more buy-in from the kids when you're actually a face-to-face person. So
are you going to be recording it?
Yes, it's already actually recorded. Kat, if you click on introduction
So
there.
if I go into introduction, we have already, so this is explaining who's actually doing it.
Next.
And then next, you go into getting started. We have already recorded these.
Yeah.
And so if the kids miss the live presentation, then they have this video.
Yeah, they have to sit through the more boring video.
Yeah, the one where it's not like...
That's their punishment, yep.
Or the other thing is, if the kids have watched the video in live and then they miss something, they can then jump back in this and go, okay, I just want to refresh, make sure I've got it. So just like what they used to do before, if I jump into this, you can all see this PowerPoint. All right. Okay, so it's just like what they used to do before, where they have the welcome and they are our doctors and all that. From there, we explain what epigenetics is. And then most of the time the kids still don't get what epigenetics is, so we explain it as DNA being a script. They have the cells, which are the actors, they're identical. And then from there, the epigenetics, which is our outside influence, is the actual directors. And then you explain in regards to who the directors are, what movies they do. And then one of the examples I give is the script reads that there's a couple walking along to their dinner. Tarantino, he's very dark with his movies. He puts it in a really dark alleyway. Whereas Spielberg is very positive and things like that. He puts it into like a walk along the beach. So it's all happy and things like that. So showing that the DNA is still the same, but you're getting a different expression, a different phenotype. And then just hammering at home with talking about how environment and your lifestyle affect the expression, but the genes, so your DNA, remains the same.
So that all takes about 5 minutes in the video, or, you know, it's a lot easier to do with the kids, and they might be able to have some interactivity like in a team chat or something like that. We don't really want them to be able to butt in, but they can leave notes in the team chat and we can go through and answer them in the chat, or we can send them say, here's what you asked in the chat and here's your answer.
Yep. And then going on and talking about Darwin versus Lamarck in regards to their evolution theories. So just trying to bring back a bit of history for them here.
Yeah. So
that's pretty much it. Then they jump into their online activity. So I'm going to jump out of that. And then from here, this is where they go on and tick whether they want to be female or male. And then they go on to, if I can move this out of the way, of course, that's in the way, I can't get to it, where they go into here, and it's just an online version, and it's called a game. I call it an online module.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move away from the whole game thing, and it's very straightforward. The kids go in there and learn about epigenetics. Then
That's
from
activity anyway that the kids would do at kiosk on the big TVs.
Yeah. Then they have some questions to answer about that. And once again, most of these are multiple choice. When they do the multiple choice, it is a shuffled questions or answers. So when they get to, like, if two kids are working together and go, oh, it's the first answer, then it will be different on each screen. So in regards to the first question, as you see, it is a short answer question. So it depends on what the kids get out of this. And this one we will have to mark yourselves. Then you got your multiple choice as we keep on going down. It's very straightforward for them. We tried to make it as easy as possible.
Some of those questions, just go back.
Go down to here. It's a VCE question.
That's a VCE question, talking about your methylation and things like that. So we've actually put that in to say that that's a VCE question. So if they don't get it, that's fine. But if the kids that do get it, they might be thinking, oh my God, I could do Fung's class in, you know, year 11 and 12. So
what about Cozzy?
No, I'd rather be in Fung's. But, you know, she talks more. It's more fun. So, you know, there's those types of things that the kids can look at too. So we always try and have a bit of extension there. So, Peter, I love you. It's been recorded, so there you go. All right.
Yeah, it is true. Okay, and then from there, they go on and meet in the patients in the next module. Now, I forgot to mention at the start when we do the introduction, we're going to do a disclaimer because it is about breast cancer. And we've had students walk out because they've been so upset. It does happen when we understand. So some kids may actually have problems with doing this. So, but you kids, you know your kids better than we know them. So that's something you may want to pre-word with some of the kids if you think they may have some troubles with it.
Can we maybe get that disclaimer beforehand so we can actually email that out?
Yep,
Yep.
sure.
That's fine. We'll write that down. No worries. So yeah, so we've got a disclaimer written here. And at the moment, we're torn as to which way we go with presenting it. So it's basically just saying that you are professional and that we'll be investigating breast cancer, and we just got to make sure that you guys understand we're looking at it from a professional doctor point of view, not a personal point of view. Now, in regards, as I was saying, we were talking about doing two different ways.
Just do the Google Doc one or the Google.
So there's a video to explain what to do, and it goes over the disclaimer again. Then into Google Docs, you've got both the patients. It's got the disclaimer in there again. They go into the patient, click on the patient's name, and it has everything that they need to read through.
So that one here, sorry, Kat, there's patient history. So the kids here need to determine, the big question is they need to determine which cancer is a genetic line cancer. So like, for example, the BRCA1 gene, and which cancer is an epigenetic cancer. So it has some sort of expression change within the individual. And so that's the idea, that the kids are now looking at cases. You can see that there's quite a few of them. Just go back up to the Heather Stark family history. So they need to go through, and this is what we're having problems with, because normally when we do it, the kids have these in front of them and they can push them out onto the table and scan over the whole lot. This is much harder to do in this very small, if you have a laptop environment. And then there's a set of questions that the kids answer from that, determining which one is the epigenetic and which one is the genetic line. So we'll continue refining that one.
So once they get to their questions, it's just like what they had before. In theory, this doesn't really need to be marked. There's only really one question we want them to answer. So this is another way we've gone about it. And so they answer in regards to what the patient number is, what type of cancer they have. So we're trying to lead them as to what they're trying to find. Then, did that patient actually smoke or drink? Are their parents alive or dead? Did the parents have cancer? So is their family history? That's the big underlining. And then their siblings.
Now we might put the questions up first, so the kids can see the questions, and then they can read through the medical records, and then they can come back to it at the end.
The other option is we have 2 tabs open.
Yep, agreed.
So they have to use Chrome or Firefox or something like that.
That's fine.
Then the last thing is, this could easily be a multiple choice. We're saying, do you believe this is epigenetics or genetics, this form of cancer? So it's the same for Mary as well for Heather. Okay, and then from there we jump into the lab.
So what would happen now is, normally at KIOSC the kids would go downstairs into the lab, and they would learn about the microarray program that occurs. And what we're really trying to get out of this, the outcome out of this, is kids understanding that medications can now be personalised based on your genetic makeup. So someone that, if you've got a headache or something, not a great example, but, sometimes Panadol works for one person and Nurofen works for the other. Why is that? In a genetic cancer treatment, we can actually pinpoint what medications will work for one person and what won't work for somebody else. So that's what we're trying to lead them to for their final outcome.
So then from there, we jump into the lab, and this is where we're talking about using that Wednesday afternoon session where the kids come in about, because it's 1:30, is that right, Peter? Yep. So the kids, or whether it be 2 o'clock or whatever's easiest that we work out, that way the kids can have a lunch break if they require. And then basically we have 15 minutes, we're going to go live, and whatever platform we decide that with. And basically they go through and we run through the lab and show them how to actually run the experiment. And then from there, it's the results. And that is also...
There's a video there if the kids miss it. And some of it's sped up because there's lots of micropipetting backwards and forwards. So it's which is very funny to watch. But we'll do an abridged version, kind of like the Curiosity Show. Those of you that are old enough to remember it, here's one that I prepared earlier. We'll show them the end. So there's the results listed there.
Yeah, and then from there, what we want to do is to present this live, how to actually do the first 2 drugs. So the kids have the results. We're talking together what the results are and saying, why can't these 2 patients have this one, but this one can have this one and not that one? It's all to do with the gene expression. So depending on what their DNA is, allows that particular patient to have certain things. And then they do their questions. So they look at the image here, they put a plus here. Oh, yep, that's a plus, that's a negative, as to which color it is. Then they do it for the next patient. And then lastly, they go through and say which patients can have which drugs, all to do with what they've decided back up here. And so they've got 4 drugs.
Explain to the kids when they're in the live session, so that won't be hard. And you guys will get a copy of the drug chart anyway, so you can go through and check.
Yeah. And the last one is a conclusion, because we want the kids to be able to tie everything together, what they've learnt.
Yeah.
So that's another short answer. The other thing is we're still currently working on this, but this is the teacher guide, which we want to email out to you guys, which has every link that is used, every question that is used. And if you don't want to go sit there and go through the epigenetics online module, I've gone through and painstakingly written all these notes for you. So you love me. Yes, yes, you love me. And then from there are online questions as well. It's just true and false that they do. And yes, I've gone through and done all that for you. So that just continues on. The last thing is...
Did all that? Well done.
Yeah. Well, now you know what's taken me 50 hours to do this.
All right.
But it's all resources that we have now. The last one is an optional one, and it is the Microarray virtual lab. Kids may get a lot out of this because they are actually doing the lab and getting more information. It is very VCE based. That's why we're tossing up whether it should be something the kids do or whether it be optional.
I think if we leave it as an optional thing, you guys can then, you know, maybe do this as a follow-up activity or something like that.
I would push it for the add core kids, that they will have to do it, and then the core kids could be optional.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool program. It is annoying, the clicking sounds. So it has chapter 1, which goes talking about the study of genomics, and then you've got what is gene expression, and then you've got the experiment. My advice is to do it without the sounds on, because it's really annoying.
So that's the unit. So what kind of we envisage from our end, and I mean, look, you're the teachers, you know your kids, and you'll know what you want to do. So if we say we launch it on a Tuesday, for example, in that what's it called, Catalyst program, then in your own science classes, you could just put up onto Compass that you're to complete the first module or 2 modules from the KIOSC program, and so what we thought would happen is that then you guys can basically not opt out, but it's not a lesson that you need to prepare for. Yes, Kate, I'm thinking of you. And then it means that, you know, over the whole week, it might be that that's what the kids need to finish. And then maybe you guys can check in with them to say, you know, what are you up to? How much have you got to? And you're looking at your teacher notes going, oh, geez, you've got a fair bit to go. And then, you know, you can say, well, you need to have, Module 1 and Module 2 done before the Wednesday, because that's going to be the live broadcast for the actual prac.
So it wouldn't be like the Tuesday, then the Wednesday. They would have a week beforehand.
And you can, you know, fill it in with other things. You don't have to do that for the whole time. Or we might want to launch it on a Tuesday and then 2 weeks later we do something like that. Or it might not even be the Wednesday. It might not even be those days. They're just ones that I know that would fit into a schedule if we want to do a whole program.
Yep.
So we got less than 10 minutes, guys.
Another thing I would suggest is grabbing some screenshots of those, of where to go to get into those modules, because the kids have got no idea.
In the first example, they will be taken through the intro of the genetics and microarrays, and they'll also be taken through how to navigate the learning management system.
The other thing we haven't discussed is that there are discussion boards that for each module. So if the kids have any questions, they can post on the discussion boards, and we'll be checking them like once a day to answer anything.
So that's cool. So we've tried to cover all bases to help you guys out. You know, everyone's in a whole new kind of X amount of work now. So hopefully we get to go back to work soon.
Yeah.
But any questions? We've got 8 minutes to go, because we're trying to time this to only be 40 minutes all up. You can email through questions to Kat or myself. Peter and I'll do most of it. What I thought out of that, Peter, I might put together a flyer on what it is, and a screenshot of maybe how to get into the system as well.
Yep.
So all that can be sent out to the kids. We'll manage their email and the passwords to be sent directly to them. So once you give us the emails, they're now forever on our learning management system. So when they're back next term, they can do stuff with us as well.
Yep.
They'll log out. We'll get their their passwords out to them, and I can even include that little flyer and, you know, step by step very easy instructions of how to do it. And I'll be monitoring it. If there's any errors in it, I mean, look, Will will be my guinea pig. He's going to do it probably next week anyway. So he'll be my guinea pig to work lots of kind of the bugs out, and he'll be able to say, no, that didn't make sense, or I'll be like that.
Will actually can read instructions. You haven't met my class.
Sometimes he can, Kate.
Will is actually really good at diffusing bombs as well, but that's another story.
Poor kid, like we're using him for everything. We've been filming other things, and of course, I don't need any permission to have him on Facebook or have him on anything
Which
else.
is a nice segue to my next question. Peter, Leona, Kate, and Fung. When Leanne made the joke about rather Fung's class than Peter, you all changed from serious faces to nice smiles, and I quickly grabbed a screenshot for our social media. Is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
I will airbrush everyone to look perfect. It's okay. No, you already look perfect. Everyone
Exactly.
already looks.
Are we able to get access to the modules before the kids so we can have a play?
Yeah, but you're not allowed to touch stuff, Kate.
I don't want to. I just want to know what's going on and what the kids are going to ask, because I know my class and they're special to say the least.
If you're able to put us on as students, which means we can't actually mess anything up.
Yeah.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
That's it. I was
Yeah.
going to do that anyway. We're actually going to put you on as teaching assistants, which means like because we're still playing around with that second module. You know, you can see actually more on Kat's screen than what the kids can see, and there's a kid mode, so we can see what they see and stuff as well. So, look, it's been pretty exciting. At the same time, I don't know if exciting is the right word, but I'm going to use that word.
Interesting.
Because we've been pushing for the learning management system.
Testing.
Testing. Good one.
It's been so hard to get. And as soon as COVID hit, Winburn basically relinquished all of the red tape possible to get us on the system. So it's been kind of a blessing in a way and a curse at the same time. So look, we're really excited to do this. You know, we've been teaching already for other schools, and you're going to be probably our biggest, the first big school to come into the system. So look, there'll be issues. Nothing will be perfect. We fully expect that, but we've got backup plans. So if the kids can't access something, you know, email us, we'll send out the video. We've got a YouTube channel that's closed, so we can send a link into that if you're desperate for those types of things. So that's
Which is also on the teaching notes. Every link that we use, you will have access to it because it will be on the teaching notes.
So, I mean, the next one that's coming up for Wantirna is forensics. So, you know, we're running another one of these with Alon. More streamlined because we won't have to show you through the learning management. But the forensics one's quite intense in terms of there's more modules, but there's more kind of willingness. You know what forensics is like. The kids, what's the next step? What's the next step? So Alon's been actually at work today with an enormous risk assessment that he had to fill out to go into.
Yeah.
He didn't have to fill it out. That was 4 hours of my work.
I had to sign it.
But other than that, we hope that it goes really well. Just to organise with Peter when we want to start, when you want the modules available, we can have them. Kate will get you on the system today or tomorrow, and once that happens, we'll send you out. You'll get a password come out from that, so that's not an issue at all.
Just don't delete anything, please.
No way. Not going to happen.
And I think the next button's really, I'm still trying to work out how to navigate it, but the next button is really good. Oh, what's that?
Next one. Yeah.
It's not as pretty as what I would like. It's KIOSC, just yet. I would like it to be, I mean, when Mabel does some of the Google websites that she's put together, they're nice and pretty. Like the website that Kat did, it's pretty. This is a bit more, university, boring. So I can't help that. So, all right. Thank you very much, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's so nice to see an adult's face and not a child.
Yes. Is everyone here Wantirna? All 4 of you?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So I'll tag the school when I post about this session.
Perfect.
So we can all be seen to be working hard.
Exactly.
Hardly work. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
So much. Bye.